I'm going to show you how to do a desktop planner today. I was always one of those kids that would love to have them and doodle in them, and they were great for organizing my mind and my schedule. What I have done here, though, is I've made my desktop my planner, and I use sticky notes as the entries for where I need to organize in my brain and my workflow and just the general processes of how the day needs to basically end up. I start out in Krita. You can use any software that you actually use to create an image in a custom canvas size like Procreate or Photoshop. Krita is free, so that's why I use it. Here are your most common sizes. I did try Quad HD, even though my desktop computer was just a full. It came out a little chunky, so I don't really quite recommend the 2560 by 1440 if you don't have a HD quality type of monitor, but the high definition one is what I'm going to start with because most people have at least the full high definition monitors now, but there are the specs for the high definition or the standard definition as well. All right, so we're back at Krita. We're going to just create our document. We're going to first get our background because most people will have a wallpaper background that they like or a specific type of image or vibe that they want to go with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer and I'm going to go get my background. I'm going to export layer. I do believe that's my background. That's my background. It's by Kent Davis. I love his art. So I've had this as my wallpaper for a while and I'm just going to deck it out as my desktop planner. So we're going to add another layer because I don't want to paint on that. I'm going to go to my square tool. I want it not filled, so I'm going to go to the tool options. I'm going to make sure it's not filled. It's not. It's going to use my, foreground, I do believe. We kind of want to make that gray. We're just going to create boxes that we kind of would want our different categories in. We don't want it that big. That's huge. Let's not do that. Unless you want a border that huge. I tend to go for something that is smaller. More petite. So there's a box there. I'm going to copy it 2 times and then I'm going to move my boxes over one. This is just an example of how to do it. And we need the other layer over. I had a brain fart there. And then I'm going to merge them actually. So we're going to Control E. We're going to name them borders. Oh, did not name it borders. Name it borders. All right, now that we have our borders, we need to get our innards done. So we're going to make sure we're on the rectangle tool again. We're going to go to our tool options. We're going to change this to fill. We want it to fill a foreground color because that's just what we're doing. It would work the same for background. And then we just get this all filled in. And because there's kind of guidelines there, I'm just going to willy-nilly. You could just copy and paste again. That would work. And then you would also be able to merge them as well. But this time we're just going to do this. Name it innards. And what we're going to do, because we don't want it completely like this, we want a transparency level layer on it. Level layer. We're going to move it down to 40%. I have mine at 30 because I like the 30 and I want to see my background more, but this is at 40%. You can see a good chunk of it is layering over. Next, we're going to create headers. We're going to be on our square tool. I'm going to tool options and not filled. I want to create headers. And I'm going to just try and start at the corner. You want to kind of be precise here if you can. Just so when you are going to be labeling your different boxes, like let's say assignment or your progress section or what you're working on section. I'm not being precise here right now because there's no time, but that's kind of how you're going to want to do that. And I do it this way so that I can customize colors without having to sacrifice layout design. So let's say I want white for my borders because I found that white kind of pops. I'll go to my brush and I'll go to size, and it's on the only paint on my lines. So I'm only painting on my lines. Let's move the brush bigger so we can get it all changed. I see that it kind of pops a little bit more. but you can always overlay it or photo manipulate it into having images in it or different colors. You can be creative with it. Be creative. Let's say I want our innards to be different. Let's say let's have one innard be kind of like a yellow. Oh, that's not. There we go. Look, fun. I think I might just make them all yellow because I like this yellow. It really kind of brightens up my back, which is fun. Let's say we want the headers to be separate. So we're going to do pink because I can't resist pink. Make sure it's just on that line work there. And then boom, done. You can add different squares. You can add different layers and such. There's many things that you can do. So this is the simple overview of what it is. And I'm sure you can take it and run with it and do your own little spins and make it creative. All right, now I want to talk about images that you're going to want to kind of decorate with. I use Canva, but you can import images any way that you're used to importing. So what I do is I create kind of like an Instagram post and I add pages, and each different word, everything's going to be on a separate page. So when I download them, I'm not going to have to cut or erase different images that are connected together. So it is a bit of a hassle to make each image on each page, but it turns out way better in the long run. So let's go ahead and get some images down so I can show you kind of your options. So we're going to go to download, but we don't want all 64 pages. You don't want to see me do that process. So let's just say we're going to click on this guy and a few of our decorating icons. That's a horse. Contract. Tree. And so you're just going to pick out different images that you're going to want to grab. I keep it kind of at this size for now. There is a point where I do customize icons for my desktop planner that I will talk about later, but you could just keep the size normal for now. Transparent background, and then download. And I want you to realize it's going to download in a zip file. We're going to name it Planner Test Files. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to extract it from our downloads. We can do it. We can find the download thing. Oh, it's on the different one. All right. So we're in videos. We go to downloads. So we're in downloads, and let's go to our planner test files and extract it. So we're going to right click, extract all. I like to work in my downloads, so I just save it all in here until I need it saved somewhere else. But if you do work from your downloads and you delete a lot from your downloads, you're not going to want to do this for your icons. So it's all extracted. Let's go back to Krita and I'll show you how it all gets imported in. All right, so we're back in Krita. We're going to go to our layers. We're going to go to import layer, and then we need to go to our downloads, and we click on one, but then we control all for all of them and open, and then it'll load them all. Look at that. Look how awesome that was. And so that's when you're just going to go in and rearrange your pictures. I have some tips and tools for getting an image off of the internet without wanting to use Krita that you can do, and it's using your snipping tool. I didn't imagine that the snipping tool could be so magical as it is, but it's pretty magical. So I'll show you a tip for that real quick. All right, so we have our snipping tool up right here in this box. We're gonna hit new, and then we're just gonna grab an image, and this is for personal use. So you can always give credit to the artist, and you always should give credit to the artist. But see, we have a copy here, and all we need to do, we don't have to save it, we don't have to nothing. Freaking snipping tool is the best, and I've just learned of its magic. So we're gonna go back to Krita, and all we're going to do in Krita is we're gonna come over here, make sure we're on our screen, and you can go to, I do believe, edit and paste, and it's going to have this like, the image data you are trying to paste has no color profile information. Do you want to interpret this data as web or as on monitor? I'm just going to do as web. I've never really done as monitor. You can still use Canva to remove the background. Canva will remove it easily enough, but that's how you import it into here. I can show you real quick how Canva removes the background, because I don't even have to do anything to save this to get this into Canva. It's the same process. Here, I'll show you. All right, see my new page in Canva? I'm still just going to click paste because that's the last thing on my clipboard from the snipping tool. And then I'm going to edit the image and voila, it removed the background. Canva is got a free version. I use the pro. All it does is get me like more images. I can use sounds, I can use audio, and it just gives me more. But the base package of Krita is pretty cool because it's a lot of stuff that you could just do all in one place instead of having to download a whole bunch of apps. That they advertise is definitely true. So we have our image. If we want to put this image back into the thing, we just share, download. We only want one. We don't want all 65. We want page 9. Done. It's going to download, and then we can just put them in Krita. In Krita, if we want that guy imported, we go to layer, import, find a paint layer. We're going to go to our downloads, and I got to save him from Canva. He's been saved as untitled design, and there we go. He's transparent, but I'm apparently made a circle. I'm gonna leave the circle just so you guys can see that he's in there. You can move him, resize him wherever you need. You can use this as a basis to kind of put your icons wherever you want. Like, let's say you wanted your horse to be an icon. If we go to the horse layer and move him, you'd be able to shrink him if you need to. Shift is always going to keep him at the same regular size so he doesn't get all wonky. And so you can play around with it and mess where you're going to want to put your icons if you're specializing your icons. Speaking of icons, let's show you how to make certain icons. All right, so what we need to do next is we actually need to convert these images over into icon images that we can actually use for our desktop icons. So we're going to start with the Krita, and then we're going to open this guy. I wonder if you could do both. Or if I don't know, can you do both? No, you can't do both. Open, convert. He is converting down here. Don't click start now. We're going to choose the other file. We're going to do the warrior. Open, convert. So we've got both of those converting in our download files. They've been downloaded and in those files. So we're going to go to our downloads. They're right here. So the first one is this Krita one. We're going to rename it. Rename both of them. All right, so now that we've got them named, I'm going to change this icon here. I wanted to show you this icon right here. I've got large icons, the display, by the way. So you go to view and you get to choose what kind of icons, what size of icons you want. Large has worked best with the images that I have downloaded, and I can see them. It's great. I want them to pop, so they pop at large. I wanted to show you. I had used the above image of Warehouse in a 1080 by 1080 document, and I had stretched him because I wanted him to be big, right? But here's the thing, they can only be so big. So it kind of like warped him into like smush, warped him into a smush. So you can always be like, which image do you like? Do you want it smaller but have the longer layout, or do you want it smushed? The smush is kind of growing on me, so I left him like that. But we need to change this icon. We're gonna right click, show more options, properties, and then shortcuts. It's gonna open on anything. It could open on any one of these tabs. Go to shortcuts, change icon. You're normally gonna see a Krita icon or any other icon image here that is publisher, like a publisher, like Google, Canva, Living Writer, any of those big publisher icons, you're going to have to change the icons this way. I'll show it when it's different for folders. So we've got our desktop icons out. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually transfer in both of these icons over into this permanent folder. Because like I said before, I actually work from my downloads and delete from my downloads constantly. So we're going to work from here, and we're going to change the icon location while it's in its new folder. So if it gets deleted anywhere else, it doesn't change the image back. So we are on Krita. We're going to do this Krita test one, which is the same as my normal Krita. So we're going to do this. Shh, you don't know. Apply. Okay. Next, we're going to actually start a new folder. And this one's going to be Warrior Bug. And this is going to be our other icon. So we're going to go to Show More Options, Properties, Customize, Change Icon. So it's different because it's just your own folder, you know? And then Warrior. Apply. And I swear, we even changed the size of him, and look out how tiny he came out. So you got to be careful with your images. Maybe we didn't resize them. Let's go look at our Canva and see if we can get, yeah, we didn't resize them to be max on the page. We need him to be max. So let's fix this real quick. We can do that. Make him as big as he can be. And I'll get him all re-downloaded so you can see the difference in sizes. Size all the way big, transparent background, download. And we're gonna have to convert him again, which is irritating. It'll adjust your PNG size if it's too big, and then we're gonna convert. I just don't think it had enough. What in the world? Okay, we're running into problems with this guy, but I do want to try and troubleshoot while we're doing this, because it only makes sense to troubleshoot now, so that if you come into questions with this, you have an answer. We might need him to just be in a smaller file size, so we're going to try and leave him as is, and we'll see how that goes. So we're going to leave him at 1080 by 1080 pixels. All right, we're going to try this again. So I'm having problems getting the new warrior who's been enlarged to get converted over, and I think it's because I was making his pixels too high. Oh, yeah, I was making his pixels too high. So just keep his pixels low, because if he's a lower image quality, you want to try and limit that if you can, so it doesn't give you an error and not download and convert over. Right, now we're going to move him over into my icon folder, which we got to get to. Moving him over into my desktop icons because I want to save him. And into my Z's. So this is a small one. I named it Bug and it actually came out small. That's funny. Right click, show more options, properties, customize, change icon, browse. We want to go to where our icons are saved. A Warrior 2 because he's bigger. And apply. Sometimes it's a bit finicky, but that is bigger. He's pretty small though. So a lot of the images I did use off of Canva to get the quality that I've wanted. You can always just mess around with the size, the best way that you can manage that. I want to go over to Canva or Krita for a few more tips before we export, and I can show you the overall setup of my desktop planner. All right, one more tip that I want to talk about before we head over to my desktop, and I can show you how I use the planner every day. I just want to show you that if you're worried about your words are above, so we can create a paint layer and you want them to pop more, just go into your paint layer. We're going to scroll into this one. We're going to go to brush and then I use black, and then I will go in and I will just actually draw a black outline. Again, this is just my testing canvas, so I can show you guys exactly the processes and the workflow I use to create my desktop planner, and then I'll show you my desktop planner. So I'm not trying to be neat. I was trying to be neat when I actually made it, but see how it pops more? You can be neat and go around and use it like that. Let's head over to my desktop and I'll show you how I use my desktop planner. Right, so you're going to see on your screen my planner. This is how I eventually had it customized and have it displayed. You can always mess around with your different canvas sizes, and it'll always stretch your thing to fit your monitor. So it doesn't have to be this big. It doesn't have to be this busy. I know it looks crazy, but I do like it. So my ideas, if I have any ideas, will go here. Your sticky notes, if you don't already have them installed, see, it's installed on my computer. I can open them up, make more. You'll find them in your, let's see, Microsoft Store, or just Google them and it'll take you to the Microsoft Store and you can download them. You can change their colors. Like, say I wanted this pink, I want pink, I want blue. I like this. If I ever wanted another one, just get another one. And then I would put them, let's say over here. Right now, say in my progress, I've got working on desktop planner. I've got my workflow spelled out, how I made it, and that usually came from ideas. So it would start out as an idea and it would go workflow creation for desktop planner. And let's say this wasn't in here anymore and this was something else. So let's like say I was working on attempting to do a portrait. This was a new one, portrait. Spell it right. Oh no. So let's say I was working on portrait and my idea was for a workflow creation. Spelled creation wrong. Wow. Ideas would get moved over into queued because then I would want to work on that next. Or if I wanted to do a video on something, it would probably go in ideas. If I had an idea for a video that day, it would come here. So this will probably get inundated with different notes and stuff like that. Or this is my work process. It goes from right to left, and this over here is where it's my working area. It's where I've got my little working girl because she's got all my files that I need. I've got my Google Chrome, my Krita, my Canva, my OBS Studio, my Kindle, my Living Writer, and this is Sade. This is my computer's name is Sade. And if you can't tell, I like pink and yellow. Sorry. This is my warehouse where I keep all of my files and my games. My crusade, this area is going to have my goals for the year. I plan on putting all my goals here so that I can see them visually. And this over here is going to be draw one shade or gesture or character a week. Not a week, because we don't worry about time. Just that would be what I was working on for actual drawing homework and trying to get things done. It could be busier than what you like. I love it. I freaking think it's amazing and I have a lot of fun with it. Yeah, so this is kind of just my general work process. I kept it all kind of like vague so that you can kind of envision something as what you would want to do as well. And before we go, I would like to show you the artist that I got all of my icons from. So you can always go into Canva and you can, gotta scroll into my recents though because it's been a minute. And then he did all of these. I really like him. It's called Maxicons. And he did all of these. So he's got a bunch. He's got a slew and I really like them. And I use them all on my desktop to create it. Thank you for listening, and I hope this really does help you become more organized or at least have a clearer picture on what you want to accomplish this year. Thanks. Bye.